It's a boat this here,
Good, just like the first weekend.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
nice.
Yeah. All
I
right.
didn't have yesterday with the rain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, all right, let's call the meeting to order. Can I get a
A motion to open the meeting?
You don't need it.
I just said
Motion
call it.
open. Just call it over.
Right, call this meeting to order. And let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thanks. No? We've got an agenda, and we've got Mariana, school committee, and Dacia Smith. I think this one is an item. If you're not, direct me. How about if we do the reading and approval of minutes? Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the Nahant School Committee meeting minutes of May 11th, 2027.
Awesome. So move, second. Great. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right. And we only have the one item here, I think. So I don't see any other visitors. Did anybody have any correspondence from residents of Nahant? I do not. Not Mariana? Okay. Then I think we're good to move forward. And let's go to the superintendent's report.
Right, I would both, there was both, actually, I thought was, I mean, well attended, but successful, and supported of both, fire department, as well as the schools and the needs of both. One override was voted to be sent forward. And I think eases confusion. Our main situation. The vote was pretty substantial. So I think that's a good sign for both situations. Our last greenhouse activity is next Tuesday. We're going to have a farmers market. Grade 2 through 6 are gonna harvest on Tuesday, and I sent a message to parents where inviting parents to stop by and take home for a donation of their choose, and you're not charging some pricing things out, but a donation of their choice to support supplies and seeds for next year. We are kilo and lettuce and cherry tomatoes. Very small, but tasty carrots, and I think it'll be good for the kids. I think parents are going to be able to stand right by us. I'll take this, I'll take that, rather than it's all packaged up and ready to go. They'll clean it up for them. And I'm gonna go from 2:30 to 3:45, and then we'll sort of shut the operation down. And learned a lot. I think about that. Shepherd kids through it and what to grow and what not to grow, and I think next year will be a little bit more seamless in terms of how we pull it off. But I think for the first year, it's been fun. Kids are comfortable doing parts of it. And those are my two items.
I would like to just jump in and thank Rob for getting up and speaking at the town meeting. I thought that your explanation of why the education portion of the override is so important was very important. There were questions in the audience about what is the education portion for, and I was there in my Saturday work clothes from planting dahlia tubers and just ready to jump up and start trying to explain it to the best of my ability, but thankfully probably to everyone's benefit, Rob was there in his suit and tie, much more fitting, and did a fabulous job of presenting on behalf of the school. So I would just like to thank you, Rob.
Thank you. I was there as well.
I think that's what you all would me to do.
Even though I
To be honest with you, I was waiting to be called up, so I didn't jump right up and go up there, and there was a sort of a pause, and it was time to go up and say, these are the items that are there, and this is why they're important. Especially the one about the use of circuit breaker and downsizing that, and why that's it's a ski business, as it was pointed out by a community member I respect greatly earlier in the year. And, everybody found that they seem to understand what that was for. Can't spend it willy-nilly on anything else. It can only be spent on, costly and required and deserved out of district special services.
That made a difference too, because I know the crowd there, where I was sitting, they were all parents of former students who are now adults. And they were like, oh, I didn't realize there was that much to it. Your kids had already been through the system, so honestly, you did a wonderful job.
You got to check and balance on that is that, you have to spend the funds within 2 years. You can't hoard them. And therefore, if you build it up, you've got to apply it to existing tuition and reduce the budget. You can't just leave it around and saying, well, we need to get to X. You could have it for a period of time, but you can't just afford it. I think the explanation as to why we needed expansion of our sport services for kids that are non-special ed. In terms of their NCAS, and people understood that. So I was very pleased with how the whole meeting went, the tone of it, with no disrespect to anybody. Obviously, we did that's real good hard to the incomes they have. And it's substantially boost for their taxes. We don't value kids and we value safety and it's really it no good.
I've heard from everywhere what a powerful moment it was. Robin got up there and gave that speech and talked about and explained the nearest to the way about why this is needed. So always the message that we've been talking about all along that crowd, which is good. Okay. Principal's report.
Okay, so the principal's report, we had Memorial Day honored yesterday with Galileo, and so there, and being honored as presenters at the event with the veterans. I don't know. And also I want to thank Jessica Fuga and Mrs. Harrington and Miss Darren for representing us. Where I was kind of torn, I felt like, in a married couple, and you have to decide Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah, so it's how you're going to. Well, we're a very strong military family, so we get Veterans Day here at Nahant, and Memorial Day goes to my husband, and so it is about.
That's great.
But I did get videos and so very proud of the children's presentation. They did an outstanding job in representing Johnson. School spirit, we are in full swing. We had our first pep rally the other day for field day. Teams were identified, students going to get their color t-shirts. They're all working for special kindness sticks and things like that. So it's been really fun. A lot of excitement for that coming up. Then we also have our Johnson School Community Night coming up on June 4th from 5 to 7. There'll be some more information coming forward with that, with all the teachers that identified their times. I created a brochure. We have a really loud color printer here, so I got to go to Staples to get them made. And those will be going out shortly to families so that they're ready for that evening. This week, last Friday, so we had a professional development half day. We worked with Renaissance Star, which is our assessment company, and they did some overview of different assessments that we can use for reporting. We looked at student data growth for the year. That's great, which is usually a good projection for MCAS results. So everyone was really excited with that. And then in the afternoon, we worked on transition. So what I created this year is student profiles. So each teacher meets with their receiving teacher, and they go over every individual student, looking at what their data scores are, so that they have all of their social emotional needs, all the things listed that will help support the child when they're who's kind of shift. Yeah, so it was really positive. We did it to a Google form so that it populates to then the special ed teacher can see all of the data, and then a special ed, they weren't getting, special important part, and also see all of the students, we have the confidential way of looking up information, what student data.
What happens with the sixth graders?
So we have created a new form
Mhm.
for the same process, new form set up so that they have access to that. There's a transition. I've been working with Jess, the manager, at the other school, and we're doing with our teachers will fill those out, and then they're going to have a transition meeting with the seventh grade teachers over at the end. We're trying to have it Thursday, but we for the check. They arrange, we're available for. So, yeah, so we want to make sure that those conditions. But speaking of we also were invited to gym night over at Saltstone Middle School. So our fifth and sixth graders will be getting an invitation. We will have to talk to them about that. Miss Harrington and Miss Jones, USD are gonna go over the health. We volunteered that we. ESPs on Friday, they had specialized training for safety care training, focusing on de-escalation strategies and skills to help support them with students who don't regulate and how to get them back into check and into education. A great day two will be focused on physical restraint and so doing that, and that's scheduled for June. So that's coming up shortly for them. And let's see. Oh, there's lots of events coming up. So I'll read through quickly just some of them. So I do have them. May 27th, which is tomorrow, the Department of Education is coming for an audit visit. And May 28th, grade 3 is going to Nahant Historic Society visit. June 3rd, sales car races, is they can come back, and then have that happening at 1 o'clock. June 4th, our community night. June 5th is our field day with a rain date of the 8th. June 9th, grade 6 is going to board to celebrate their end of year in their transition. June 9th also is grade 2, Nahant Public School, Public Library field trip. June 10th, safety care training for the second day. June 10th, again, grade 6, potluck dinner at night, lobster cup. And June 11th, grade 6, graduation at the Nahant Town Hall. I would love to be possible. June 12th is grade 6, visiting over to Saltstone Middle School for the day. And June 15th, report cards will be due to the office. The whole 17th virtually. June 16th is our preschool graduation. So we just have a couple of things going on.
One or two.
So that is the update. And then I do have some staffing. Okay, so our ESY positions are filled. We filled our ESY quota with Miss Taylor Murphy, who is the quota from Bloxford. She is going to fill the rest of the semester. And we also hired ESY speech pathologist is Sarah Gardner. Sarah Gardner has extensive background in education and in therapy hospital sessions, so she will be with us in the summer. She's also doing some device training for us and help with communication with one of our students. And sad news, we have a resignation from staff. Miss Lydia Smith, grade 9 teacher, who was not here. She's going to not. Yeah. And then we had a resignation today from our IT specialist. So here we go again. I posted it today. Hopefully you can get some. Because it's part-time and full-time job. Doing stuff. Projecting classes for next year. We have preschool, third, a 3-year-old program. I've hired Miss Cassidy for the permanent position. That's the police. And parent of Miss Pastor, let's go for the boards of the override process, which is eventual transition from next week. Kindergarten is Miss Morton, grade 1 will be Miss Austin. Both Austin. Will be consecutive. Grade 2 will be Miss Andrew. Grade 3 will be Miss Belmonter, and then the second will be New Holland. Grade 4 will be Mr. Dean, grade 5, 6, Mr. Harrington, again, our special ed youth person is Miss Whittemore, and she will be joining us. So that is all of the updates. I want to thank all of you and all of our family, our staff who's really working hard to close this year out strong. And we hope to see everyone in the what?
I'd like to shout out Miss Dan, Miss Anton, Miss Beba. You know, so there was a tough morning with the weather and with lots of like on the afternoon your speech chambers for the afternoon before. And they just handled everything with grace, even with some of the movements that they made and check out like really smart movements. And so that was great. I also loved the Johnson School gets to also see the auxiliary and some of the different activities. And I think that was just really important, you know, for them to watch that and have it be a concept be something, you know, in the entire one. So it made me love it a little bit. Yeah, thank you.
Can I just ask, why we decided to hire a third grade teacher as opposed to like why the shift in people, and is it just easier to hire a third grade teacher or?
No, so you look at skill set and what the requirements are for each, so we choose it, this opens up first grade.
Yeah.
So Miss Austin has extensive background teaching the first grade, so it makes sense for her to move to the first grade, and second would have been going to third anyway, because that for the kids is a one class. So you would have to have it.
Okay.
And then it was thrown out there to staff that then, and then when Miss Miss Smith brings on, it's often the question. Please. Please, I'm so sure I'd love to go to first, please. Absolutely. So I think it's good to is through the lens of a principal, knowing there's going to have to be some mentorship for the newer somebody in your school, and having them be with somebody else.
Yeah.
Will really the back.
That sounds.
How many students that you know of are moving into the 4th grade? That's always an interesting time with the classroom. Start there.
So we've heard of 2 students that will be returning from that grade. One of them is moving out of state, and the other is going to a charter. So we have not heard of it.
So that means we've only lost 1 3rd grader. That's great.
As of right now,
That's nice. Yes, that's huge. It is huge. Usually it's a handful. It's never tons, but it's a handful. So that is a great. And then the 4th grade are to your knowledge from
I know you're breasted.
everybody's moving on.
Come in more.
That is so stable. That is really stable for us. That's great. Yeah, that feels good. You know, it's been a tumultuous time. We're making these and it's getting more stable. Yes, that's a treat. It's really good. It's great. Okay. Ready to move to examination and authorization of funds.
Overall, much smaller than has been, 35,482.59. Standard items, the for the contract is 2 amounts 422 and 617 and Mike Glover. He's a tutor and he takes care of a sick high school student. He has to stay at home and need schooling, and that's our responsibility to take care of that. So that's what those 2 items are.
Okay.
Otherwise than that, everything is clear. 35,482.59.
Did you get a motion?
Motion to approve the bill roll presented at May 26th school committee meeting in the amount of $35,482.59.
This is a second. Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, any old business fund?
Oh, business, we will have other business
Great,
in the agenda to have it. Just before we end.
okay. New business, recommendation approval of the new Johnson Elementary School Special Education Director.
That one's easy, we have two applicants and you both have the film.
Oh, God.
So there's no one to present.
Okay,
Remember it's a 0.6 FTE administrative job.
Good.
So that is combining the director and the team chair with the hopes of attracting somebody because we're having insurance with it. There's not a huge number of folks out there. And we'll continue to advertise, we'll continue to look, and we're in contract with relationship. This year, we need to extend that. We've been told that management give the individual who's doing a good job with it, lots of experience, 30-day notice, that hey, we found somebody who's going to be permanent, and also not quite as financially high as what the service charges for the contract, then we can make it. So I guess we'll just have to continue doing that. It's a type of position that it's more often than not a retired individual with that says, well, that works for them. It's like he's got the health insurance possibility. Somebody fitting in a couple of extra days a week with something else, but there's not a large number of folks out there. So that item was sort of the reason why we had this.
We're so excited.
There's not been. Needed, we know the response needed, we'll continue to look. I don't think it's anything about Nahant being particularly difficult, and for a special ed issue, it's just the commute for a lot of folks.
yeah, it's difficult to get to. That's that.
So we will continue to reach out to organizations and see if we can find the right. But it really needs to be a solid individual. There's a lot at stake with the child involved, but financially for the town and getting the program right, extremely important. And just continue to do our due diligence at the start.
Right, sorry about that. Okay, future agenda items.
Yep, future agenda items on do other business, there'll be request for fund transfers on June 9th. And probably on the last meeting in June, make a date right here, but it's 2 weeks after that, so 23rd on that time. And that's balancing out the entire budget so that it's can close its books for the year. We're doing authorization for hiring and approval of bills during the summer months when we don't meet. And we do that on June 9th. We do some standard items, acceptance of grant funds on June 9th. Go to participate in the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program on June 9th. And then adopt the standard list of topics for the meetings. So remember, we're going to go to one meeting a month and try to start at 6, except during the budget cycle time. I do want to remind folks that it's a special joint meeting with the school committee and the select board on Wednesday, June 3rd at 6:30. And they'll, I believe, have the professional courtesy to move us way up in the agenda so that you'll convene, have a forum. The individual we talked about during appointments of the school committee vacancy. Many will approve the select board to appoint, and we'll be able to move through with that.
And is that remind me, is that Zoom or town hall?
I believe it's a town hall, I haven't been to one, and
Okay.
sometimes if I get married, right? whether it's a Zoom.
You know what, you're kind of,
meeting.
this is a real good question because they're kind of in the middle of it. The last one was in person here, but it's been quite consistently Zooming. But, I,
Mine was on Zoom when I was up on.
I'll let you know. I mean, it will be obviously consuming,
Right.
mhm.
Okay.
but whether it's a meeting that people are physically present for.
Okay, I will check.
And then other business, there are policies that Mass has just sent out. There's one for a first reading, where it's just looking over. And that is a expansion of an existing policy, JLCD, which is the administration of medications to students. And this one is JLCDC, which is the self-administration and self-care of medications. So there are circumstances when a child, if requested and authorized by the doctor and approved by the nurse and protocols are in place, would be able to self-administer and carry their own medication with them. Under certain circumstances, there'd be a claim for that. More often than not, this is going to be an older age child than an elementary school. But I suppose it could be an asthma inhaler that, you never know exactly where the child is going to be. And, that's what this policy covers. So all you're doing tonight is looking it over and giving it a first reading. Put it back on the next agenda for a second reading and approval. And it will expand JLCD, which is all the nurse and teachers and secretaries or whatever could administer medications if necessary. School secretaries would really draw the meds they get. That's not a standard practice anymore. But this one is specifically about the child themselves.
Can I ask, this is from the state?
Yeah, it comes from the Mass Association of Schools.
So like it or don't like it, there's not much we can do to it, right? I mean, you say first reading, but am I,
Change a bunch of the language. And it's one of the required policies that you have. So I think it's a pretty done deal for.
Light read?
In the second. And it's not terribly lengthy, it's only a page and a.
I'm just curious, like, there's nothing that we're doing to change, like, if I don't like the language of it, we're not changing it, right?
No,
It is what it is.
right, it's not one,
Typically-
it's a boilerplate policy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
When I pushed back 3 years ago, on this wanting to rewrite some of it, what I was told then is, that the Mass Association of School Committees has their own people attorneys that do this and put it in front of us. So, and it's vetted with certain educational situations in mind. And so it's better just to accept the new one unless there's something, but you're a school committee member, so there's something that feels good to me, you just said you're an attorney. That jumps out as it really substantively important, then like you can definitely interested.
Yeah,
Again, compound knowledge. Now, the other one is fairly lengthy, and I'll just jump real quickly to, there will be a further one sometime in the summer. That will be about cell phone use and personal devices used by children in schools in the concept. And that is, voted and by the Attorney General, restricted down to basically you're not going to have the cell phone, not going to have the personal devices. There are rare situations where a kid may be able to have it possibly on a field trip. That will be spelled out in policy, but it's not going to be kids at lunch texting and parents, other folks, each other, or anything like that. That is going to be restricted. There's a large push on screen time and the detriment of that connect. Cell phone, how damaging that can be. You can send a group text or a chat from the world basically and harass another individual there. Years ago, you had to build it up to, if you were going to do a hallway or whatever, but not include everybody in their court and cycle, and people that don't even know you, and with AI, and I think it's a wise move on behalf of the state is the isn't in schools and then used. Obviously for academic purposes, the electronic devices, especially that we provide, will be used, but there won't be, it's basically, behaving, but just the thumbs are going constantly. So that will come, we haven't seen the exact number for that. And the other one is required to be in effect by August 17th in all schools in the Commonwealth. If you do have an existing policy, JKAA, that I gave you, that is a 2-page policy called the physical restraint of students. And that will be replaced by expanded language with a policy, JKAA, timeout, seclusion, and physical restraint of students. And it will give the reasons, the requirements, the details of the rooms that are used, reporting forms, and that's a almost 9-10 page policy. Again, it's not the kind that you can change. This is mandated, and it's important that you adopt it tonight as changes to an existing policy. So it's not a first, second read, and then this would then be in books and websites and that sort of stuff. What it basically does is say the only use timeout, seclusion, and physical restraint to prevent injury to self or others. And it can't be used as a form of punishment. Has to be monitored at all times. You have to use any other measure before you use any of these items. Where years ago, timeouts and seclusion in some places were fairly standard practices. So this just lists out item by item what the situation is. And they know that for the judgment to it was the imminent threat of assault or imminent serious physical harm. That's a little bit in the eyes and judgment of the beholder. He's in downtown Boston, and somebody said, I'm going to throw you underneath the commuter rail. Well, you can't just wait till that happens. That's a serious threat of imminent danger and safety. Would be able to pull that child away, or an adult if it was, and you'd have a requirement to do that. In a classroom, in a lunchroom, in a hallway, there's a judgment call to that. There's a length of time. It can't be that you use it for, more than the time that is necessary to bring a child back down to a level that they can re-engage with the academic process. And then it's boilerplate language from the lawyers from the state. You could, I think, if you wanted, because I only sent it to you today, because I haven't had it. Smith. Put it on the June 9th one, but it had no chance to read it over the years. But again, there's not things in this that you can change.
I'm happy to see this come down the lane. I've been really concerned as an educator about the amount of stories both in the news and just inside of this educational environments of where particularly seclusion is used on younger kids inappropriately because teachers don't have the skills yet or have an training to be able to work with polypolitic students or students that are having struggles in different ways. So it's all that we learn. And I have been sad by what I've seen, when there was an epic story on Dogo. Seclusion, you know, sleeping stuff is flying, lives in the school, the mattress inside, for the elementary, the school age kids. And I was very happy to see Massachusetts start taking the seriously when they're doing community speed stuff.
One that's presently there sort of has the same language, but very general. And allows
You know,
interpretation,
whatever.
which really should be there.
Right.
And obviously those types of topics are now coming on, special needs out of district program. And this does require our folks to do trainings in how to do that, how to restrain it properly. We had a training last year, it's gonna be a training this year for, most likely, individuals that have to be involved with, any of this. But it's basically limiting the inappropriate use of those kinds of control.
Yeah. I think it also, I work with high school students who are highly volatile and never used seclusion except in one case, which is when, and on the very few instances where students who brought nuggets are specific, right? And to guys, and it's, we have used seclusion in a very, very good student. So that it's a good to do, and you allow it in track with the get out of clothing, and separate the weapon from the student. Right, and so when we had to do that, we had to use exclusion. So what I've seen like elementary school use it, and don't really make sense by it. That's like, we don't, you know, there's been all kinds of other things that we have not used exclusion for, even this, there are other ways that we can do kids and staff that are taught to de-escalate and do a master job de-escalating, you know, without using much words. So it's, I think it's really good. It's a good piece of work.
So do we need a motion?
If you want to adopt it, unless anybody wants more time.
Right, then they'll be able to move forward handbooks and again, it's there aren't items in here that you can change and it's friendly language to this, to the,
Students.
safety of
And it's,
the student and limits the inappropriate power of the adult.
So motion to amend the Nahant School Committee Policy Manual 2023-2024 regarding JKAA physical restrained students for the updated timeout seclusion physical restrained students presented at the May 26th, 2026 school committee.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We haven't been voted there on any of it.
Well, she was saying aye before. Mariana, you got an eye for us on the new seclusion policy? So, three is a board. Okay,
I got it.
okay.
Sorry, yes, but I couldn't,
There we go.
it wouldn't let me unmute,
Oh,
sorry.
good. Oh, good, my friends. Great. Anything else, Bob?
Oh, I like that.
And great, the rest will happen on June 9th.
And the chair very well, yes, it will.
Oh, okay, great. That's great.
So they usually, it will be a simple.
Motion to adjourn at 7:45 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thanks, team. Thank you. That's what we're talking about.